Before I continue, let me congratulate Ivica, Jovan, and all colleagues for their persistence in building the INFINTECH conference into such a valuable platform. By bringing together regulators, banks, fintechs, and innovators, INFINTECH is making a real contribution to the development of Montenegrin financial market. 2 years ago, I stood here to talk about SEPA and PSD2 implementation. At the time, those seemed ambitious goals for a small economy as Montenegro is. But among others, your energy and your demand for change pushed us to move faster. And today, we can proudly say, 2 days ago, Montenegro, together with our dear colleagues from North Macedonia, Albania, and Moldova, became operationally part of SEPA. We as well hope that our dear colleagues from Kosovo and Bosnia and Herzegovina will join us during next year. This is not just a technical milestone. It means that euro payments to and from Montenegro are now processed under the same rules, speed, and transparency as anywhere else within SEPA market. For fintechs, it means a bigger playground, direct access to European rails on which new services can be built. I will use this platform just to explain you in, I would say, strategic terms what Central Bank of Montenegro wants to achieve in the next 2 years and how fintech relies and is a piece of the puzzle in our strategic goals. If I could sum it up, I believe that I mentioned this many times before various forums, but I believe it is worth repeating. Central Bank of Montenegro wants to achieve that Montenegrin citizens by the end of 2026 would have EU-like payment experience. However, to do so, it's not a walk in the park, as some would say. Indeed, the first building block was to create laws fully aligned with the EU acquis, both when it comes to payments, credit institution, risk framework, AML, CFT. We've done it by the end of 2024. Our laws in Chapters 4, Free Flow of Capital, and Chapter 9, Financial Services, at the moment are fully aligned with the EU acquis, with the latest additionality of full implementation of DORA and partial implementation of MiCA. In that regard, we hope that by the end of 2026, we'll be closing Chapter 4, and in the first half of the next year, that will be closing Chapter 9. Then it came infrastructure. As you very much witnessed in May of 2025, our national clearing system was upgraded. Now online clearing for retail payments are in full force. In July of 2025, we adjusted tariffs in order to push all day long transactions. In August 18th, we extended hours of our payment system work, both for DNS and RTGS. And as of October 20th, our DNS and RTGS will be working during weekends and public holidays, adding 118 days of extra processing of payments, which in terms of the economy means additional 40 million of the capital to the private sector and additional savings in terms of short-term financing in the range of additional 2 million euros. However, I would say that our most strategic endeavor after SEPA is implementation of TIPS Clone, a regional instant payment platform fully aligned with the original TIPS, with the aim that by 2028, when we all do hope become the member of the EU, we would then migrate to the original TIPS. After that, definitely we want to assure reachability of our payment infrastructures. And the way how to do it is to create and to assure the whole set of new overlay services, including QR code, NFC, request to pay, verification of pay, and other, I would say, strategic overlay services, which would assure to achieve the goal that by end of 2029, 95% of people in Montenegro who have the right to open an account do so. So at the moment there is a gap of around 70,000 people who are still lacking the access to finance. However, in order to do this, we are as well very much aware of a few challenges ahead of us. First, being open banking standardization, while we implemented PSD2, the practical framework for open IPs and standardization is still incomplete. We do observe some fintech fragmentation, i.e. fragmentation of IPs standards implemented in Montenegro, which is, I would say, one very, very important obstacle for, I would say, more buoyant entrance of fintechs. I will just mention digital identity and IDs 2.0. Although this is out of the remit of Central Bank of Montenegro, we are very keen to work with the government in order to resolve the issue of electronic signature in, I would say, a lasting manner. Of course, cybersecurity and resilience, extended hours and adding instant services is, I would say, a very demanding task. So in that aspect, Central Bank of Montenegro really needs to ramp up its capacities. So what are the tasks ahead of us in 2026? First is to definitely consolidate integration with European market. We are a very small market. We cannot live in isolated manner. And in that aspect, I believe that SEPA and TIPS clone are very, very important messages that we want to integrate into pan-European infrastructures in order to open market to 450 million people. Number two, strengthening the digital and fintech ecosystem, and in that regard, I would say that one of additional endeavors on which we want to pay additional attention is standardization of the QR code that we envisage by the first quarter of the next year. So, if I can sum it up, central bank task is not only to regulate and supervise, but to provide enabling infrastructure and legal certainty that allow innovation to thrive, while ensuring stability, trust, and alignment with the European Union. Montenegro is a small market, but that is also our advantage. We can move faster, test new solutions, and scale them across the region. The fact that we are now a SEPA operational country proves that even small economies can lead in integration and modernization. Now, I believe it is the right time to use that foundation to build fintech solutions that are simple, secure, interoperable, and accessible to each and every citizen. To turn regulation and infrastructure into real services. And that is precisely your role, and our role is to help you during this endeavor. On our end, you can always count on us as a trusted advisor and a helping hand. Thank you so much, and look forward to the rest of the program.